How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another episode of Previously in DBS, where I go over the week's news in Dragon Ball Super in one nice little video to get a whole week's information in one go. So with this week, it was all we've got really from this week is the spoilers for set 13 for the green and yellow ones, and next week we have the black ones, and I think then that's it apart from the secret rares. So what I'm going to do is go over the green and yellow spoilers and show the cards off that were shown, and also go over a bit about them as well. So without further ado, we'll start off with the first green leader being King Cold. So King Cold finally got a leader card, but this time but instead of being from the Dragon Ball Z sagas from franchise, is taken from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie one. So it's a King Cold BR, but then there's not really any other decent King Cold cards to go really abuse if it was a normal King Cold. But it's a really interesting one. It goes around. It's a deck that rolls around field cards. So that's a unique unique idea for the card, and it's in green. It's quite a different one for green, because green's normally all about discarding and KOing and stuff. But this King Cold looks to be like a really strong control deck. So the permanent on both sides of the leader make it so when you activate a field card that's got a green extra card that's got the field tag, and it's a cost of 2 in your hand, and you play it from your hand, you can reduce it by 1. So that means all the 2-cost field cards that the archetype has can be played for 1 energy from your hand. And the leader's got an auto on the front side, like some of the other leaders we've got in the past, where once you start the game and put in your leader area, you play the signature extra card from your deck on it. So like with Baby, he's got the Planet Tuffle, King Cold's got the King Cold's Dynasty. And then the leader has really good self-awakening. You can easily awaken by turn 2, and it's got the aggressive awaken skill, which is untap 2 when you awaken at 4 less life. And on the both sides, they've got away the draw as well. On the front side, it's got a basically they both trigger when you activate an extra card. A extra card with energy cost of 2 or less, or energy cost of 2, and the field skill. So on the front side, when you do activate one of those cards, you can add up to 1 card from your life and then draw 1. And on the back side, you just draw 1. So with the front side, you're taking a life. You're getting 2 cards when you play an extra card that's got the field tag of cost 2, and you're awakening with that as well. And quite a few of the extra cards, I think all but 3 of the new ones we're getting, the field cards allow you to take up to 1 card from your life when you play them to do something. So you can easily take 2 life from 1 extra card as well. And there's so many ways to play extra cards from your hand drop and stuff. And the leader's backside has got an activate battle effect as well as those 2, which is once per turn, where you can choose one of your extra cards with energy cost of 2 and field skill is in your battle area, put in your drop, and if you do, then the leader gains 10k power for the battle. So it's really nice that you basically just sack off a field card so you can gain a 10k. And the thing with the field cards is the extra card here, the one you start off with, it's got barrier, and it's also a field card as well. It's got 2 permanents. The first permanent is basically saying, because it's really long-winded with the field tag in there like 6 times, but basically the first permanent says you can play as many. There's no limit to how many mono green extra cards, field extra cards with an energy cost of 2 in your battle area. So you can play as many field cards in your battle area. Basically, you can play more than 1 now. With the extra card on the field, you can play more than 1 field card with mono green and energy cost of 2 in your battle area. And the second permanent It's basically saying that if you've got a copy of a field extra card in your battle area, you can't play another copy from your hand. You can't play a card. You can't play a field card in the battle area if it's already got a copy in the battle area. So it means you can't play multiple of the same one. You have to get rid of that one to play it again. But it's easy to do that because the leader can do it. It's got a way to do it. You've got some battle cards and stuff that you can do it. So it's really easy to pull off. But it's a very interesting archetype, and it seems just like a really good control. And then also some of the support. So this is the Unison, right? So these are the cards that are more specifically for the King Cold deck. So we've already got the Unison, which is a specified cost of 2 green. It's got 3 marker skills, 15k as well, so that's quite strong already. The first one is the +1, which doesn't activate. The first 2 activate main, and the last one's activate battle. So the first one, the +1, you can choose up to 1 mono green extra card with energy cost of 2 or less, and the field skill in your hand and activate it. So it means for free you can play a field card from your hand, a mono green field card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand. And the good thing about this is energy cost of 2 or less, so you can use it in other decks, not just the King Cold deck, but it is mainly for the King Cold deck. And then you got the second skill, the -1, activate main. Your opponent chooses one of their battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less and KOs it. So you got removal, but you don't really use it that much. It's not that handy. You mainly want a +1 or -3 on with the next effect, which is -3 activate battle. This card gains triple strike and 5k power for each extra card in your battle area and the field skill for the turn. So if you have all the field cards, I think there's 5 including the one King Cold starts with at the start of the turn or at the start of the game, you can get an extra 25k boost on that and triple strike. So you can swing with this -3 and make it a 40k triple strike base for the turn, which is really strong. But mostly you're going to depends on which ones you want to use, but you can use all of them. In my opinion, for me, I would only use 3 of the new extra cards along with the one that it just starts off with. Then we have Raw Supremacy, which is a 2-cost negate for a specific key. It's more specifically for the King Cold actually, because it requires because the counter attack has a requirement of the counter attack effect is negate the attack, then choose any number of your opponent's battle cards whose total energy costs out to 3 or less and KO them. So it's like probably a stronger Shocking Death Ball, because instead of just being one battle card with energy cost of 2 or less, it hits up to energy cost of 3 and multiple battle cards as well. And the good thing is, because it just says whose total energy costs add up to 3, you can still hit tokens with it, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe you can still hit tokens with that. And it's got a permanent, which it makes it really good, where if you have 3 or more green extra cards with the field skill in your battle area, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So that's why I say it's like Shocking Death Ball, because you can play it for free and it negates and KO stuff. And the thing with this is so easy to pull off, because you start off with 1, with King Cold, you start off with 1 already in your battle area when you start the game. And all you need to do is play 2 more, which as you know, as we've gone over, you can pay for 1 energy each, and you can free play with this King Vegeta. So by turn 2, you should have 2 more in your battle area, making this free. And then we have Berry Blue Frieza Invader. This is like the searcher to set up, get mainly what you want. It's got also when this card is played, look at the top 7 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 green unison card with a specified cost of 2, or up to 1 green extra card with the field skill among them to hand and shuffle your deck. So this means you look at top 7, either grab one of the extra cards that the deck needs to keep drawing with your leader, or the unison. So it means it's a turn 1 you want to see this, so you can either grab the unison to play turn 2, or grab a field card ready to use after. And it's got a really useful active main, and make sure you can every turn keep playing a field card, which is once per turn for 1 green. If your leader card is a King Cold BR card, activating 1 mono green extra card with energy cost of 2 and the field skill from your drop area. So after you sack off so with the leader, combined with the leader, on this awakened side, you can sack off a field card when it attacks to gain that 10k power for the turn. Then you can just pay 1 green to bring that card back and get all its effects off, and have it back in the field as well. because it allows you to keep recycling the field cards. Cause I know there's one of them that searches the top 3 to grab a mono green card, and when it's sent, you draw a card and discard 1. Then on to the next lot of King Cold support. This is less solely for the King Cold, but it's still handy. So it's not specifically for King Cold, but you can use it in other things. First one we have is Frieza the Marshal of the Planet Vegeta. This is a board wipe because it's a cantrip board wipe. So it's got 2 autos. The first one is the cantrip one. When this card is played, draw 1 card. And then the other auto for 2 green is choose 1 green extra card with entry cost of 2 or less and the field skill in your battle area and place it in zone's drop area. When this card is played, choose all your opponent's power cards and KO them, and this card gains 16,000 power and double strike until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this is for free energy. You can cheat it out, so you can free play it, but mostly unless you're playing the Unison, the King Vegeta Unison, which is how you're gonna free play it out. We'll go over that in a bit. You're only gonna play this for free, but free energy for a board wipe that hits everything, not including barrier. Put a sacking off the green field card and becoming a 20k double strike is pretty good. And it's also being a Frieza army means it's usable for the Golden Frieza. So the old Frieza's got never 1-drop green cantrip as well. So Golden Frieza looking to become more green than it is yellow. Then we have King Cold Supreme Roller, which is a free cost negate for 15. So just negate the attack and play itself. So it's a negate in play. And it's very strong in this. It's going to be a 1-drop in King Cold because it's permanent where you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each green extra card in your battle area. So turn 1, you're going to be, it's going to be, as soon as you start the game, it's going to be a 2 cost. But then you're going to easily, just by playing one other extra card, fill card, it's going to be on one drop. So 1-drop negate with 15 power is really good. And to make it even better, it's got an auto. When this card is played, your opponent can't attack leader cards for the turn unless they choose 1 card in hand and discard it each time. Now, as you can see, they've added the each time on there because there's loads of discrepancies, like when it comes to the Blue Baby, one with the Gohan, where I did see each time people get asking questions. The same with the Trunks as well, the TP Trunks Heroic Prospect. People got confused about that because they had each time on Topo and didn't have each time on those. People were trying to get confused, but they're all each time they attack, each time your opponent attacks. So that's a really strong extra card, and it's best used in King Cold. But even if you don't use King Cold with just 1 extra card on the field, it can make it a 2 cost. So it's like a Topo, but you don't discard. It's like a Green's Topo in a sense, because most of it, but it's really good. Because I know quite a few green decks can play Healing Pod, so that could be 1 extra card you can use for it. But yeah, it's one you think it's something you're going to like automatically pay for in King Cold. And then we have Carplay, which also could be 1-drop potentially, and is more usable as being a 1-drop in any green deck. Because of its effect. So it's a cooler, effortless strike, 4 cost, 15k. Carplay, play this card, and if the battle card being played as an energy cost 4 or less, it's placed in its own dropper instead. So it's 4 or less, puts it straight in the drop. And it can be for 1 because it's permanent, where during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each green extra card in your battle area and drop it. And this is very easy to pull off because green has some really good extra cards like Dormant Potential. You got Cell's Earth Destroying Kamehameha. I think there's everyone's at Shock and Death Ball as well. Easy ones to use that you can easily pull up in the drop. And then you got some decks in green that have mill, like Clash of Fates Goku, and then Set 10 Goku as well, which can easily mill to get this to make this live as a one drop. So all you need is extra cards in your battle area and drop, which all you need to do is put 3 of them in your drop and you gold them. And then it's got an auto as well as when it's played, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in the hand, they choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. So if they got 8 or more cards, you make a discard, and also you stop something from being played. That's really good. But the best thing about that is you stop something from being played, give yourself 15k, and then have the potential for discarding a card. Really strong. Then we have the next lot of King Cold support, was mainly King Cold support. So we've got the first one, which is Cooler Vicious Ambush. It's a 2 cost, 15k critical, auto 1 green. If your leader card is green, when you activate a green extra card, play this card from your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. So I think people have been discussing about potentially using this in OG Broly, because you can swing with the leader, discard the field card or the ISR Broly to play the field card, and then for 1 green energy you can then play this after to give yourself a 1-drop 15k crit. It's interesting. It's not amazing, but it's still interesting. And then we have 4-drop Frieza Revived and Reviled. It's 20k dual attacker blocker. It's got a permanent where you can reduce the energy cost of discard in your hand by 1 for every 2 green extra cards in your battle area and drop area. It's easy to pull off in King Cold to make it a 2-drop. And it's got an auto for once per turn. You choose 1 green extra card in your battle area with an energy cost of 2 or less and the field skill and place it in the zone's drop area. When this card activates as blocker skill, switch to active mode. So you can attack once with it, restand it because it's auto attack, then leave it to block 2 attacks. It's decent, and there's a Frieza Army card, which is good because any more Frieza Army stuff is good to help with the old Golden Frieza leader. And then we have the Ever Frieza card, the 5-drop Golden Frieza Pinnacle of the Clan. Sorry, is a 25k deflect double strike with the same permanent as the Ever Frieza, so both of them can be reduced by 2. And it's got an active mean of once per turn. You choose 1 green extra card with energy cost of 2 or less and the field skill in its battle area and place it in its drop area. You choose up to 1 of your opponent's hand, 1 card in your opponent's hand, and up to 1 of their battle cards in normal barrier placed in the drop areas, then switch this card to active mode. So this is a really nice removal for free energy that can go through a barrier, barrier on the battle card on the field and make them discard 1. Very strong, and can threaten for two lots of 25k double strike. And then the last bit of support is the extra cards. So we've got 4 different 2-cost field cards for King Gold. All very strong. The main ones I know I'm going to be running are New Ruler, Unstoppable Evasion, and Anticipated Onslaught is probably 4 of each. Terrified Realization is decent, but it's not unless you plan on spamming the board with battle cards. It's not as great in my opinion. So the first one, a New Ruler, this is a searcher because of its first auto. When this card is placed in the battle area, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Then look up to 3 cards from top of your deck, add up to 1 mono green card among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then it's a searcher for any green card at the top 3, and like with the some of the other ones, it's got the effect to take a life when you play it as well. So that's what I mean by King Cole can awaken turn 2 and awaken very quickly. And then it's got his second auto of when this card is placed in the drop area from a battle area by one of your skills. You draw 1 card, then choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. This is easy enough to pull off in King Cold because of the leader. And yeah, it allows you to just cycle through your cards for your deck a lot quicker. And then we have the next one, Unstoppable Invasion. So the first auto is if your leader is a green King Cold BR card. When this card is placed in a battle area, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then one of your leader cards gets 10,000 power and double strike for the turn. So this can make your leader a 25k double strike, and along with the leader's effect on his awakened side, you can easily have constant 35k double strike swings every turn. And then his other auto, like most of them have, is when this card in your battle area is placed in his owner's drop area by one of your skills, choose one of your opponent's unison cards and remove a marker from it. So this allows you to not really worry about unisons because you can take off 3 markers in one swing with this in the leader. It's very strong. And then we have the next one, Terrified Realization. It's got a permanent of if you have 4 more extra cards in your battle area with the field skill, your green Frieza Clan battle cards gain 5,000 power during your turn. So you can make the 5-drop 30k, the 4-drop 25, the cooler into a 20k and stuff, and even some of the extra the other ones into, or mostly all the ones for the deck, into an extra 5k boost during your turn. It's pretty decent, but it's not that great. In my opinion, it's not worth running for this. And it's also got an auto of when this card is placed in the battle area, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, then draw 1 card. And then the last one we have is Anticipated Onslaught. So its first auto is if your leader card is a green King Cold BR card. When this card is played in the battle area, draw one card, then choose up to one mono green Frieza Clan card or Frieza Army card with energy cost of 2 or less, and you hand to play it. So this is what I mean by you can free play that one drop Frieza, because it's a 2 or less from your hand. That's Frieza Clan or Frieza Army. You can play things like the Zarbon off of for free. You can play the Berry Blue off of for free. It's a really good one to have turn 1 if you've got Berry Blue as well, because you can tap on the play it, draw a card from itself, play Berry Blue, then get the leader's effect and Berry Blue to look at top 7, and the leader to take a life and draw 1, which is very strong. And then anytime you would place, and then it's ever auto, which is pretty strong as well. It's once per turn when a green extra card with a fill skill in your battle area other than this card is placed in your unit's drop area by one of your skills, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less and KO it. So you can get rid of some weenies easily enough, and also take it. And if you go against a deck with weenies, or a deck that swing with small battle cards, or defending with small battle cards, you can easily wipe them out with this effect. And that's it for all the King Cold support. Now we go on to the Evergreen Leader, which is Chilled. So Chilled looks like an interesting one. It's like a really aggressive leader, revolving around tokens. And it also has a similar Awaken skill to Sin Shenron. So we'll go over it and have a look at all the archetype and the leader. So it's got both sides have a permanent, where all of your Chilled army tokens gain the following effect. They gain a permanent. This card gains skill. This card gains Chilled army trait. It's quite interesting. So it means all your tokens have a trait. And then on the front side, it's got when this card attacks, add it to one card from your life to your hand. Then play a Chilled's army token with 10,000 power. So every time it attacks on the front side, you take a life and gain a token. So you gain advantage in some way. And it's Awaken, as I said, it's similar to Sin, where if your life is at 3 or less, you may draw 2 cards, which is the one your energy to activate and flip over. And on the front side, it's got the auto is when this card attacks, draw one card and play a Chilled army token. So the only difference between the front and the back side is the front side takes a life to gain a token, and the back side draws a card to gain a token. And then we have the activate main on this back side, which is once per turn, choose up to 2 of your Chilled army cards. And notice it says cards and not battle cards or anything like that. And they gain 5,000 power and revenge till the end of your opponent's next turn. So with this, you can give your leader a 5k boost until the end of your opponent's next turn, making it a 20k on swing and back. This is similar to the old Clash of Fates Red Frieza, which could give itself a 5k boost. But Chilled doesn't require this card, and also hits 2, so you can choose turn it one of your battle cards with Chilled army to gain a 5k boost until the end of your opponent's next turn, and also the leader. So that's really good to just, for 1 green, give your leader and another battle card a boost until the end of your opponent's next turn, make it easier to defend. And then we have the Ever Unison for the set, which is Frieza Invader of the Ever Dimension. This seems like one more for Chilled, really, because of its effects. So it's a 1-cost green Unison for 10k power. It's got a permanent of if this card will lose a marker from an opponent's attack. You may choose one of your Frieza army tokens and remove it from the game instead. So similar to how Demagra is, but instead of taking a life to keep his markers, it's remove a token, a Frieza army token is one, not just a token, a Frieza's army token, so it doesn't really work with the Chilled army tokens. Because that might be a bit too busted, because of the fact that you can just spam quite a few tokens from the leader. And it's a 10k power instead of a 5k power, like Demagra. Then it's got 2 skills. It's got a +1 and a -3. The first one, the +1, is add up to 1 card from your left to your hand. At the end of the turn, play 1 Frieza's army token with 10,000 power. So with this, you can always take a life. So it's kind of a bit more helpful than Demagra. Like, it has the ability to potentially stay around quite easily. By removing you do have the option to remove a token. It doesn't matter what position the token is. So if you attack with a token and they try to attack in the token before attacking into this, you have the ability to combo out of the swing on the token. And it's it can be more helpful than Demagra by the Meager has to be attacked to use its skill to take a life instead, whereas this Unison actually takes a life during your turn and then gains a mark at the end of the turn, so count at the end of the turn, so that way it's there ready. And then the -3 of the Unison is choose all your tokens with an original power of 10,000. Choose all your tokens with an original power of 10,000. They gain a plus 10,000 power for the turn, and then you choose one card in your opponent's hand and discard it. I feel like this could be a pretty decent one for the Golden Frieza leader, because of the fact you can take a card from life and you get a Frieza's army token, and because that leader is yellow, it allows you to have access to the new what's it called? From Evolution Battle, the counters, the yellow counter, which when your life's at 5 or less, you can play it for free by taking a life to negate the attack and play a token that has blocker. And that token for the yellow one is Frieza Army. So with like Lemon Lime Frieza, you can potentially have that to get more Frieza tokens to help your Unison take less damage. And then on to the Ever Chilled support, on the support for Chilled. So we've got some pretty strong cards. So we got the first one, Chilled Space Pirate Captain, which is a 2-cost 15k with 2 specified green. First, he's got an auto, which is switch this card to active mode at the end of your turn, and then activate main for 3 energy if your opponent has 3 or more energy. Choose up to 1 Chilled card with an entry cost of 5 in your deck or hand. Play it on top of this card in active mode. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So this is pretty decent because it allows you to go into the old set 2 Chilled as a 5-drop. That gives all your Chilled tokens, I think, combo power, combo cost. So they give it combo power and cost being 0 and 5k. And I think it can gain triple strike as well in some way, shape or form. Can't remember much because it's a really old card, but that's a decent option for it. And I think there's also a target in draft box 5. I think there was a yellow Chilled. Can't remember exactly, but there's some options for it. Because from what I could see, there's no 5-drop Chilled in the set. But there could be potentially more support for Chilled in the TP packs. We don't know it yet until we get those reveals. But so far, the targets for that are 5-drop. For 5 drops are yellow ones in the old sets. But still, even bringing out that set to Chilled, give you tokens. Common power means all those tokens you start spamming become useful for comboing then as well. Then we have the next one, the SR for Chilled, which is Chilled Let the Battle Begin, which is a 3-drop. 19k, has Deflect. Also has a permanent of if your opponent has 2 or more energy, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. And it's got an auto, when this card is played, play 2 Chilled Army tokens with 10,000 power. And then activate battle once per turn, place 1 card from your life in your drop area, choose up to 2 of your Chilled Army tokens, and they gain 10,000 power and blocker for the turn. So that's interesting, but since you're going to be needing to get on the free life with the leader to awaken, this I don't see being useful. Just to give your tokens 10k and blocker, you rather use them aggressive than you would defensively, especially in green. Then lastly, then everyone we have is Invasion of Chill's Army, which is just a counter attack, negate the attack, and then play 1 Chill's Army token with 1,000 power. So it's pretty decent, being able to defend yourself, to negate the attack and get more tokens on the board. So this is a true token spam deck. But the ironic thing is that if it goes against another deck of the same color, Dormant, it's going to wipe all those tokens off the board. Sad times. Then we have the next lot of Chilled support, which is we have Chilled Army Assault, which is a activate main, play up to 1 Chilled Army card with energy cost of 2 or less from your deck and rest with the shuffle your deck. In the deck, there's not much. I think there's some blue ones from I can't remember if it's Draft Box or Evolution Battle, but there's some blue Shield Army cards, but I don't know if they're actually, can't remember what they do, but they could be targets as well. And I think there might be some ones in yellow as well. But it plays on rest mode, which isn't really that helpful, to be honest. Like, there's other cards that do the same kind of thing, but play them out in rest mode, so it's kind of like a neuter version of what Ever Archetype's got. And then you have Kabira, I think, Fainted Greetings, which is a 5-cost 1-drop, a 5k 1-drop, which has the auto add 1 card from your left to your hand. When this card attacks, it gains 5,000 power for the turn, and then play 1 Shield Army token with 10,000 power. So this is different. This is a Self-Awakener, specifically for the Shield Army, but instead of going to 15k, it goes to 10k. It's a 10k token, so it's not as strong as the other Self-Awakeners it can be, but it's themed. That's one thing, but it's not strong as the other ones that do the same thing. But for the Chilled deck, it might work pretty well to help you Self-Awaken quicker, because you got to go down to 3 life to awaken. And then we have Toby the Seizure, which is also choose 2 of your Chilled Army tokens and remove them from the game. When this card is played or using the combo, draw 1 card. So you can remove those tokens you've been spamming out to draw extra cards when you combo or play this card, which is pretty decent. Not sure how many tokens you can spam out, but that could be useful. Yeah, it's like a mini super combo in Chilled Army. And then the last slot of chilled support we have is the Ever Kabara and the Kabira. I'm going to say Kabira and Toby. So we got Kabira the Besieger. When this card is played or using a combo with your from your deck or hand, choose up to 1 of your Chilled Army cards, then choose 1. The chosen card gains blocker for the turn, or if the chosen card is 10,000 power or less, it gains 5,000 power and critical for the turn. So, and this is quite handy to be able to combo this as a 5k combo and give 1 of your Chilled Army. And it says, and also the thing you might want to notice with this is when it says Chilled Army cards as well. So when your leader's not awakened, you can choose your leader and give it 5k critical for the turn, making it a 20k crit. So that's pretty decent. And it's 0 cost as well, so chuck a champ on there and you've got a 30k double strike crit on lead. Pretty interesting. Or even making the tokens 15k crit as well, which is quite handy. This is probably a 4 of in Chilled Army. So it could be quite handy. And then we got Toby Fainted Greeting, which is a super combo for green. And as we've gone over, they're all similar to super combos in this set, which is if your leader card is that color and your life is at 4 or less. When this card is using the combo from your hand, you draw a card and then choose one card other than this card in your combo area, and it gains 6,000 combo for the battle. So you still get a draw for a 5k draw 1, and then you can give something else in your combo area 6k, making it technically a 11k super combo instead. It's interesting, but it's not always going to be as great as other super combos we've got. And then we have some evergreen cards that support Evers, like with the Ever colors we got. So with we got some old stuff support in green. So we got the Son Goku allies in the heart. And this is one to support the Kill Krillin archetype, which is from the Clash of Fates. The Clash of Fates Goku stuff, which revolve around getting 4-drop Krillins out. Then when the Krillin die, you play the 5-drop Final Showdown Goku. So it's a 2-cost 10k, 652 green deflect with the with 2 autos. The first one is place 1 card from your life in your drop area. When you play this card from your hand, you play up to 1 green Krillin card with entry cost of 4 and the blocker skill from your deck or drop area, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So this is really good. There's the one that can become a 2-drop if you have 10 or more in drop, and it's got blocker, and when you play it, you draw 2 cards in the discard one. So that's a pretty decent one. for the deck. So you can just basically crit life to play it out, which allows you to draw 2 and discard 1, and then have a blocker ready for your Final Showdown Goku. This is a really good card, in my opinion, for that kind of deck, and I know it's one I'll be putting in the queue because there's quite a few Krillin cards with energy cost of 4 in the deck that you'd be able to play straight from your deck. Would be really good for this. Even then, 5k combo as well. Then it's got another auto for 2 green. When one of your green Krillin cards with energy cost of 4 is KO'd, play up to 1 mono green Son Goku card with energy cost of 5 from your deck, or drop area at the top on top of this card with skills negated for the turn, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So there's quite a few green 5-drop Gokus you can play on top of this. Really, the Final Showdown one you don't want to play on top of this because you want to play it after the Krillin gets KO'd. But there's the one from Draft Box 6 that has a triple strike and barrier that won't get its effect when that happens, but then you're mainly going to be triggering this during your opponent's turn. But has effect of you KO when your opponent's battle cards, and you've got triple strike as well. So that's something you can look into for that. Mainly the thing I like about it is the first auto to bring out the 4-drop Krillin, really. Then we have Babidi, Bewitching Domination, is a unique Overlord. Activate main, 1 drop is 1k. Activate main for 1 green if your leader card is green. Choose one of your green battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and no keyword skills, and it gains servant skill until the start of your next main phase. So this is really good just for any green deck, really. Just to turn any of your 3 cost or less non-keyword skill green cards into servant, so you can use it earlier to put back in the deck. So if say you so the interesting thing with this would be well, not really the 1-drop Self Awakeners, but if you got any cantrips really, don't have any other skills, play them, draw 1, then use this to turn it into a never draw 1, pop it to the bottom of the deck. And this can be played onto the field with the Agent Destruction Hatchak as well, because it's a 1-drop Babidi. That's something that can be interesting for green decks as well. It gives you extra Overlord in the Imagine Vegeta deck as well. Then we have Wings, Supporting the Master's Wishes, which is a 1-cost 4k. Unique blocker with a permanent of when activating a rejuvenate skill on one of your green unison cards. If your leader card is a green Slug's Army card and your opponent has 7 or more cards in hand, reduce the number of markers removed by that skill by 1. And then when this card activates its blocker skill, you and your opponent draw 1. So this is a card specifically for the new green Slug archetype in set 11. No, it's set 12, sorry. Which is all about deck out via drawing and not milling. It's interesting. It doesn't seem that great because you're just giving your opponent cards which shift their deck that easily make use of cards and like go aggro or go tool wide. It's not helpful, but it does have the nice fact that it is a 1-drop blocker that can make you and your opponent draw a card, which is pretty good. And it could be good support, but I don't really know about Slug, to be honest, but it does seem like it does help towards the goal of the deck, which is deck out by drawing. Then the last bit of the green cards we got are skillless green cards for the Frieza's Army and Heroine. So you've got the 1-drop 10k Kikono and the 2-drop 20k Chile. So now there is both a Chile and a Limo skillless 2-drop. And these cards both really help with Gold Frieza, really, because the Kikono allows you to use the Saiyans, Goku and Vegeta Jr. Saiyans unison, bring out 2 of these, and if you can awaken that turn, you sack off 1 on the front side to draw 1 and tap 1, then awaken, draw 2, and use the other 1 on the leader's awakened side. And the Chile is just never a good target for skill, especially from the Chile 1-drop and for the skillless stuff in green. So now we go on to the yellow stuff. So starting off with the first yellow leader, we have Fuji Gohan. So Fuji Gohan finally got a leader as well. And the archetype is all around Fuji Gohan and Future Trunks. all in the yellow, so helping each other with blocking is all about blocking and really just blocking and stuff, being really defensive. So the leader on its front side is one of the yellow ones. Both have the an alternative awakening thing like we got in the previous first lot of the block with the Vegeta Unison and Vegeta Unison, or the Vegex and Vegito side decks. So with the Son Gohan on its front side, it's got an auto when its card attacks draw 1, so it draws on the front side. And then the Never auto, which is the alternative awaken, where you burst free, and then when you burst free, when one of your yellow battle cards with the blocker skill is KO'd, you draw 2 cards and add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 life left, and flip this card over. So turn 1 you can play a blocker, a 1-drop yellow blocker. When your opponent attacks, trigger the blocker, it dies, and you draw 2 cards, take your life until you have 6 and flip over. So that's a good way to easily awaken turn 1. And then you have the normal awaken, which is when your life's at 4 or less, you draw 1 and tap 1 and flip it over. So decent awakens either way. And then you've got the awakened side, which is Son Gohan, Hope of the Resistance, which is it's got 2 autos. The first one is when its card attacks, draw 1 card and choose up to 1 of your yellow Trunks future cards, and it gains 5,000 power and critical. So this allows you guys to apply some good pressure with your archetype on the offense, giving you turning any Trunks into a 5k critical. And there's a really good one as well, which is the boss monster, which is the boss card off the deck. And then the other auto is choose 1 of your yellow Trunks future cards. When your opponent attacks, you switch the chosen card to active mode and it gets 6,000 power for the turn and negate the skill for the turn. So you can untap your future Trunks card, a blocker, give 6k. It's blocker when your opponent attacks. Not sure if that can still trigger in the defensive step, because then because it normally goes your autos go, so autos trigger, so all autos that can trigger, counter step, and then after that autos resolve, going with your opponent, with you first, the turn player, and then the opposing player. So I don't know if that can still trigger blocker because it's on the field, but not it wasn't tapped down. But I guess you can resolve them differently since it's the opposing turn. So you can use your blocker first and then trigger this to untap it, gain 6k. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. And then the Unison, that kind of looks to be themed for the archetype, is SS Trunks Altering the Future. It's a dual attack 20k, so and for free energy as well. It's got a +0, and a -3, so you can't really gain markers from itself. First one is activate main, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode. If that skill has an energy cost of 4 or less, negate your skills and KO for the turn and KO it. So you can KO anything that's 4 or less. You can rest anything that's 4 or less. As long as there's a barrier. So you can rest any opponent's battle cards as long as there's a barrier. And if it's a 4 or less, you negate your skills and KO it, meaning there's not any effects that trigger when it's destroyed, or since removed from the field, don't trigger. And that's for free as well. And then you got the Everest skill, which is activate main, draw 1, then choose all your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. So that's a good kind of board wipe free for removing free markers, which is pretty good. And you draw yourself a card as well. So it replaces itself and wipes out your opponent's board off their rested cards. Now onto support for the archetype. We got Son Gohan, Warrior of Hope, 1 cost 4k, which has a permanent of when your life's at 4 or less. This card gives blocker. Then has his auto of if your leader card is a Son Gohan future card and you place 1 card from your life in your drop area from your life. When this card is played from your hand, play up to 1 yellow Trunks future card with energy cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle your deck. I know there is also a Trunks future card, 1-drop yellow Trunks future card from set 6, I think it is, from the Bojack Saga one, that you could potentially use in the deck as well, which is, I think it's a when played, look at the top 3 cards for a yellow Saiyan and that's your hand. And then so that could potentially be useful in this. And then we got the 1-drop Trunks in the set, which is Trunks Warrior of Hope. So it's the Warrior of Hope of Trunks, where unique. Also, when one of your yellow Son Gohan future cards is KO'd by opponent's attack or removed from your battle area by one of their skills, play up to one yellow Trunks future card with entry cost of 3 from your deck. On top of this card, they shuffle your deck. Yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty good way to awaken. Start off the engine is pretty decent, and then we got the Son Gohan Trusted Ally. This card is like how Blue got the anti-burn Vegeta in this set. This Gohan is the anti-hand destruction card for yellow, which is because it's got 2 autos. The first auto is if your leader card is yellow, when this card is discarded from your hand by opponent's skill, play this card from your drop area, and then also when this card is played, draw 1 card. So this is a good thing. This is pretty nice to have, but it's only for yellow. And it's just nice for if your opponent goes Rubrian, discard 2, and you choose 2 of these, discard them, you play them, and then draw to back those 2 cards. So your opponent just tap 2 to give you 2 10k free combo power or board presence. So it's pretty good. I don't know how prevalent it is because hand destruction is not that oppressive. Like, it's annoying to play against, but it's not doing anything at the moment. But it's nice to have. We're getting things like that now. Then we have the more Future Gohan support. So we got the rest of the kind of Gohan and Trunks stuff, which is first one being SS Son Gohan Desperate Last Stand. It's a blocker. If your leading card is a yellow Son Gohan Future card, when this card is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill or activates its blocker skill, play it to 1 yellow Trunks Future card with entry cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So this is a really good one for turn 2. You play it, and then when you do block your opponent's attack, you can bring out the 1 drop Trunks we just went over, which then has an effect the trigger to bring out this next 3 drop Trunks on top of it, which is SS Trunks to change the future. It's a barrier blocker. You can evolve onto a Trunks future for 1. You've also got an activate main of 2 yellow. If your leader card is a yellow Son Gohan future card, and you have 4 more energy, 4 more yellow mono yellow energy, you can choose up to 1 mono yellow Future Trunks card with entry cost of 8 in your hand and play it at the top of this card in active mode. You can activate the activate main skills and copies of this card for the turn. So that's pretty nice just to have a 20k barrier blocker, and with the leader card you can make 26k as well, which is pretty good. And be able to evolve into any other Future Trunks, not specifying colour, for 1 green energy is pretty good. So you can use it with the Future Trunks stuff in blue, which is quite interesting. And then we have Trunks Might Born of Hope. So this is the boss monster for the deck. So it's 8 cost 30k, 1k 10k 1 cost 10k combo. It's got all the keyword skills. It's got double strike, barrier, dual attack, and blocker. It's also got an evolve skill to go into a Future Trunks, as just like with the other one. Any Future Trunks, doesn't specify colour, for 2 yellow and 2 of any other colour, or 2 of any other energy. And then you got the activate main on it, which is once per turn. If this card is in rest mode, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and up to 1 of the energy in rest mode. And the chosen card can be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. Interestingly enough, I can't remember which chat it was, but someone brought up that if you've got the if you've got the Trunks on there from a previous turn, you can trigger it and you can swing with it twice, and then when after that, you set the main activate main, tap an energy battle card down, then evolve on top of it with this 3 drop Trunks, swing with that. Evolve onto it with the Trunks, and then use the activate main to bring out another copy of the 8 drop Trunks to then do it again, which is pretty interesting. Expensive, but most of the time when you brought out the 8 drop, you're probably finishing the game off. Then we have the next lot of Future Gohan support, which is the other things that support the archetype. So we got these 3, 2 Gokus and a Vegeta. The first one being SS Son Goku, the Hero Returns, which has got an auto. When this card is played, Choose discard and up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and send it to her as warps. And in the turn, negate the skills of all cards sent to the warps by the skill for the turn and play them to their owner's battle areas. And it's got an activate battle. They all have an activate battle, but this one's for free. If you have a yellow Trunks Future card with energy cost of 3 or more in play this card from your hand, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. This means for free during the battle step. During the battle, you can free play it to trigger the auto to warp itself, and when your opponent's energy cost energy cost of 3 or less. And then they both come back with their skills negated for the turn. Oh yeah, you negate the skills on it for the turn and then play it in their owner's battle areas. So they got a when played, it doesn't trigger. Then we have the Ever 2 SS Son Goku Trusted Ally and SS Vegeta Trusted Ally. So the Goku doesn't have any keyword skills, but the Vegeta does, of unique and critical. They both have the same activate battle, which is for 1 yellow. If you have a yellow Trunks Future card with energy cost of 3 or more in play, you play this card from your hand and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. And then the Goku has the auto of when this card is played, choose one of your mono yellow Trunks Future cards with energy cost of 3 or less in rest mode, switch to active mode. This is how you allow. This is the way you allow the Trunks to block multiple attacks, because you can block one. Leader activate the Trunks, then block with it, play this, and then untap it to block again. And then the Vegeta has the skill of when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less in rest mode and KO it. So it's pretty good, just for one. This is similar to how we used to have the Zagesh Kigoku, where you kill stuff and can rest during the battle, but this is more tame, being for 1 yellow energy. You can play it out and kill something that's a 3 cost or less in rest mode. Interesting, doesn't seem that amazing, but it's quite too early really to tell. But it's nice support for the Trunks deck, the Gohan deck. Now we have the last bits of the Fuji Gohan deck, which is we got a Piccolo Trusted Ally, 3 cost with Deflect Blocker. Also, when this card is played from your hand, choose 1 yellow Son Gohan Childhood or Son Gohan Future card with energy cost of 2 or less in your deck or hand and play it, and shuffle your deck if you look through it. So this is interesting. It also supports the old Son Gohan Childhood as well as Son Gohan Future, which is quite interesting. And interesting enough, in Cube, this can be played off the 4-drop Gohan from set 2, I think it is. That plays out a Piccolo from your deck, and it's a 4-cost double striker. So it'll be interesting for Cube. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in, but it's quite nice. It's quite interesting. The Furious Awakening is like 1-drop 1-cost extra card counter attack, where you choose up to. So doesn't actually negate the attack. You just choose up to one of your yellow Trunks Future cards, Trunks Future battle cards in active mode, and it gains revenge for the turn. So for 1 energy, you can give one of your Trunks blockers, and is that counter attack stage. So before your opponent actually activates blocker, the trigger revenge. You can give a card revenge ready for it. It's also got an activate battle for 1 yellow, where you choose up to 1 of your yellow Trunks Future battle cards with energy cost. When switches to active mode, and it gets 15,000 power, and has the skills negated for the turn. So that's interesting. You can help power up the 8-drop higher on the second swing if you're going for it on their 1 life with it. Or even just on the blocker to get a extra bit of power boost. Interesting. Doesn't seem that amazing really. And we have the Futures in your hands, never 1-cost extra counter attack, which is a counter attack negate attack. So this one actually negates the attack, and then this one has an activate battle, which is choose this card in your hand in your drop area. Choose this card in your drop area and choose 1 card in your hand and send to your warp. You use up to 1 of your mono yellow Trunks Future battle cards, and it can't be KO'd by your opponent's attacks for the battle. So it's interesting. You can stop a Trunks Future from being KO'd for the battle for free. It's interesting. Well, not for free technically. You're warping this from your hand, and this when you're dropping something from your hand, but it could be alright. And now we're going to go on to the ever archetype in yellow, which is the androids. So we've got Android 17 and 18. So since set 2, this is the first Android 17 and 18 leader since set 2. But these are the androids from the future, from the Trunks future, from the Trunks' future, not the ones that are from the present and from the future. But they don't have the future tag on the name. They're just still Android 17 and 18. So on the front side, they've got an auto of when this card attacks. Look at the 5 cards from the top of your deck. Add it to one mono yellow Android card, onto your hand, and shuffle your deck afterwards. So it's more dedicated to mono yellow. So you can't really use it with. There's not much old mono yellow Android stuff. So it's nothing. It's more the new stuff it works well with. And it's got an auto when one of your yellow Android battle cards is switched to rest mode by a skill. You may flip this card over, and if you do, draw one card, switch to one of your energy to active mode, and then add cards from your life to your hand, so you have 4 life or left. So that means you can go all the way down to 4 with your awaken, and have an alternative awaken that actually is really easy to pull off and can be pulled off by turn 2, because the unison we're going to go over in a minute. And it's got an awaken of when your life is 4 or less. You may switch up to 2 of your energy to active mode and flip this card over. So if you can get down to 4 life yourself if you get to get the 4 life, you get untapped 2, which is pretty decent. And then we have the front side, the awakened side, sorry. So as a permanent of your mono yellow Android battle cards gain 5,000 power during your opponent's turn. So during your opponent's turn, all your mono yellow battle cards get a boost. And it's got a kind of it's got a different auto of when this card attacks, you may draw 1 card, so you don't have to draw 1 if you don't want to. And if you don't draw a card, you can play up to one you can play up to 1 yellow Android with energy cost of 1 from your drop area in rest mode. This is interesting because there is the 1-drop Dr. Gero Mastermind Architect, or Android 20 Mastermind Architect, which is a 1-drop cantrip, but also has an activate main that requires 2 green and 1 yellow that can sack it off to choose an Android 17 and of 4 cost or less, and Android 18 of 4 cost or less in your drop area, and play them onto the board. So if you do play this dual color with some green in it, you can potentially do that. So every turn, because you still get the draw, because because it doesn't get your skills in the 1-drop, it allows so you still get the draw from the Gero. So you play this, bring out the Gero for free, and draw 1 from the Gero, so you're still drawing the card, but then getting that battle card on the board, and then you use the effect to sack off, tap 2 green and a yellow, sack yourself off to bring out 2 Android 17 and 18 from your drop. So that could be a decent investment every turn. Because if your opponent doesn't deal with those 2 battle cards you brought out, next time you do it again and again and again. Need to do a bit of testing with it because it seems quite interesting. And then it's got an activate main of once per turn. Choose one of your yellow Android battle cards, which switches to rest mode. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and negate his skills for the turn. Now this is interesting because, as we're going to go over, there's quite a few androids in this archetype which get effects when they switch to rest mode. And also there's a lot of them that do well with so this archetype seems like a lot around negating skills and battle cards, making them skillless, which is interesting. So now we've got the unison that seems to support this archetype, which is Android 13 Robotic Unity. It's got Rejuvenate once per turn, remove 4 markers from this card. So this is the first really generic green card we have that has Rejuvenate, because the other one was more specified to the Frieza archetype. It's got Activate Main, which once per turn, choose one of your yellow Android battle cards, which is the rest mode. Choose up to one of your opponent's skillless battle cards in rest mode and place it under discard. So your opponent doesn't have to be playing skillless for this, because you've got ways to make your opponent's battle card skillless, like with the leader. Or you can negate skills on cards for the turn, and then this android can just absorb them. end of 13 use and can just absorb them. And it's got his +1. It's got his marker skill, which is a +1. Activate main. You choose up to one of your mono yellow android cards with energy cost of 3 or less and switch it to active mode. And until the start of your next turn, you reduce the combo cost of all mono yellow android cards with energy cost of original combo cost of 1 in your hand by 1. So if you got any 10k mono yellow android cards, well, mono yellow androids with a combo cost of 1 and 10k power, you get free 10ks. Now the first of the archetype is the Android 17-18. So the first one we've got is the Android 17 Android 18 Demonic Duo. This is a 2 cost and 10k. So note this. Note that the unison says original cost of 1. So this won't reduce this combo cost. This will always be 2 combo costs for this. But it does have deflect and dual attack. So this one is kind of like the war cry for androids, because it's got an auto of if your leader card is yellow, at the end of a battle when this card was used in the combo, play this card from your drop area. So it's got multiple autos, but the next auto after that is when this card is removed from your battle area by opponent's skill, you choose up to one of your opponent's cards and switch to the rest mode. That's quite interesting. So if your opponent removes it by a skill, that you can tap any one of their cards down. And then lastly, the Ever Auto, once per turn, choose one of your yellow android battle cards, switch to rest mode. When your opponent attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and negate its skills for the turn. So that's interesting that you can negate the skills on one of your opponent's battle cards when your opponent attacks, just by resting a resting a yellow android, which I think is easy enough with this archetype. And the two you're mainly going to want to which is the main reason why you want to use the unison to reduce the combo cost on battle cards with it, and combo cost of 1, is because of these two, the Android 17 Sibling Strike, Android 18 Sibling Strike. They both have the similar effects, so I'm going to go over the effects they've got. So the autos are if your leader card is Android 17 card. At the end of a battle in which this card was used in the combo, you play this card from your drop area in rest mode, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. And then the activate main is once per turn for 1 yellow. If your leader card is a yellow Android 17 card, and you choose one of your yellow Android battle cards other than this card and switch to rest mode. You can choose up to one mono yellow Android 18 card with original energy cost of 3 in your hand to play it, and you can activate the activate main skills to copy this card for the turn. So technically they can play each other out over the turn, so you can slowly start getting out enough for Cell Zeno. But some of the good targets for them would be these ones, which, yeah, the Android archetype has actual some skillless, so they got 3 cost skillless. So with the old Android 17 leader, these 2 skillless would become 2 cost 30Ks you can play with the deck. Which is interesting. I don't know if there's anything that can play out 2 cost androids from your hand for free, but if there is, there needs to be 2 good targets for that leader. But then I know I'm one of them with a lot of other people that are hoping for a reboot of the old Android 17 leader. But then we do have the boss card of the androids, which is this one here, Android 17 and Android 18, Bringers of the Apocalypse. 5 cost 25k, deflect triple strike. So deflect's nice, meaning that it's not, the opponent's not going to stop it from coming down. But then there's a barrier, so if it's against green and you got the Frieza up, it's dying, and it's 4 energy as well. But being a 1 cost 10k means if you trigger that unison skill to reduce the cost, this could become just a free 10k combo if you want. And it does have permanent to play it cheaper, where if you or your opponent have a skillless battle card in play, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. And as we've seen, that it's easy to make one of your opponent's battle cards skillless with your leader card, or even the unison as well. It's got an auto of when this card is played, you choose any number of you and your opponent's battle cards and unison cards, so it's nice it hits battle cards and unison cards, ignoring barrier as well, and you negate the skills on those cards until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's really interesting because you can just literally blank everything on board, you and your opponent's stuff as well. which is quite nice against things like Sin. And then it's got an activate main where you place this card in its owner's drop area, and you can use 2 of your skills battle cards with energy costs of 4 or less and switch them to active mode. And since the auto on the card targets allows you to target your own cards to make them skillless, you can swing with them first, then play this card, choose those cards in your opponent's cards skillless and make them skillless. Then swing with this, then untap those 2 cards you previously swung if they are 4 costs or less, and let you have more swings of them again. It's quite interesting, really. And then the next lot are the 1-drops that get benefits when you rest them. So they're all kind of cantrips. So we got Android 20 Skill Absorber, auto when this card is played, draw a card, and then it's got the Ever auto of once per turn when this card is played or switch to rest mode. By one of your yellow card skills, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less and negate skills for the turn. So this is an easy way to reduce the skills on your opponent's battle cards for the Unison. Then you have Android 16 Mechanical Partner. Auto, when this card is played, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 yellow Android card with energy cost of 3 or less, or up to 1 yellow Unison card with a special cost of 2, among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So it's searching for Unison and also Androids. And then the Ever auto, once per turn when this card is played, or switch to rest mode by one of your yellow card's skills, switch this card to active mode and it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it means this is a nice one, beyond that you can, after this has survived being played the first turn, you can, when it comes down, when you play it, it becomes a blocker, which is interesting. And then if it's still there afterwards, you can use the Unison or an Ever card to switch it to rest mode for the effect, and it restand itself and gain blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then we have Android 19 Barnet Punisher Unleash, which is when this card is played, choose 1 card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's skillless battle cards in rest mode and KO it. Now this works pretty well with these cards work pretty well with the new Android 13 leader, because that has the effect of on its awakened side, where if you KO opponent's battle card in rest mode, your opponent discards a card. And these are nice this is nice that you can KO when your opponent's battle card skillless ones, and if you can make your opponent's battle card skillless, that's handy. And then we have the rest of the Android support, which is Android 20 Mechanical Patriarch. And if your leader card is an Android 17 card and you choose this card and 1 Android card and discard them from your hand, you can look up to 7 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 2 mono yellow Android cards with energy cost of 5 or less, among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. And you can activate main skills and copy this card to your turn. So this is mainly what you want to use as a mono yellow deck, so it's more to be used with this support. But if you do go for yellow androids with the old leader to reduce the skills, the cost of all of them, you can tend to use that with the old Android 17 leader. Because one good thing about this is it can search for what's the card called? Android 15 Vicious Vendetta, which is the Self-Awakener, which is a good Self-Awakener for the old Android 17 leader, because you can combo it to play it. You can combo to play it, and then when it's played, you can take up to 2 cards from your life and untap an energy if your leader card's green, or when you're green energy or something like that. That's a good target for that potentially. Then we got Android 16 Going All Out. Auto, once per turn, when this card is switched to rest mode by one of your yellow card skills, this card gains switches cards to active mode and it gains 11k power until the start of your next main phase. You get 15k 15k attacker for 1 cost attacker if you use this to start tapping things down. And as an activate main once per turn, for 1 yellow, you choose one of your yellow android battle cards other than this card and switch to the rest mode to play up to 1 skillless android card, and she goes to 3 or less, 3 on your deck, then shuffle your deck. Then shuffle your deck. You can activate the active main skill and copy this card for the turn. So this is pretty interesting, that you can, for 1 yellow, tap something else down, which we've seen you've got quite a few ones that gain effects when they're tapped down, to play a skillless android. It doesn't specify the colour of the android, just skillless android with 3 costs or less from your deck, which is pretty handy. So one yellow energy, and so instead of tapping every yellow android down, you play a skillless from your deck, which is pretty strong. Reminds me a bit of the Kiku stuff, but with androids. And then we have Assault of the Androids, a 1-cost yellow extra card, which is activate battle if your leader card is a mono yellow android card. Choose up to one of your opponent's skillless battle cards with energy cost of 5 or less in rest mode, KO it. Then choose one. Your leader card gains 5,000 power for the turn, or you choose one of your yellow battle cards and it gains 15,000 power for the battle. So this is quite interesting for the Android 13 lead, because you can, if you're using some of this stuff to make your opponent's battle cards skillless, if they still get a skillless battle card, you can tap one to play this to KO that battle card, which then trigger the leader to make a discard, and then also give your leader card a 20k power boost for the turn defensively, which is pretty good. So that could be handy. I just need to test some more yellow androids, but these yellow androids seems quite interesting to me, with all the resting and making things skillless. But that's enough of the androids. The last bit of yellow support we've got is the super combo and the SR extra card for the set, which is really, really good. So bottom, no point to go over it. It's just like the green one we went over in the Child's Army, but for yellow. But we got the 1-drop extra card, which is the power of a Super Saiyan. So it's a 1-cost extra card, counter attack, negate the attack. Then has a permanent of if you have one or more mono yellow energy in active mode, you can activate this card's activate battle skill from your hand without paying its extra energy cost. And its activate battle is if your leader card is a mono yellow, you draw one card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unison cards and switch it to rest mode, and you can activate the activate battle skill on copies of this card for the turn. Now this is a really good card. Like, I know when people saw this, they all thought Mecha Frieza. It's a busted card for Mecha Frieza, but it's just a useful card in all mono yellow decks. Like, I know I'll be interested in having this in Jiren. It'd be nice to have Jiren, leave the energy open. Not really sure what for Jiren, but be interested to negate the attack for Jiren, and also then a way to rest and draw a card as well. It's good. It could be good. And there's also you can either choose your opponent's battle card or a unison card, which is quite handy. It's a really good card, and it will be nice to grab a few copies of it. And then the last lot of spoilers we got are the SPRs for the colours. So we got the 2 SPRs in green and 2 SPRs in yellow. So I think after this, I don't know if there's any multicolours in this set. Not 100% sure. I can't remember to go back and look at the secret rares number and then look at the last one on the. I can't remember to look into it, but I'm not sure. But so if there's no multicolours, there'll probably be 2 SPRs in black, which would be cool. Because black looks to be quite strong in this set. He's got one leader that renews the life of Overwhelmed decks, and one that renews the life of Wish decks, which is really cool. Love me with some Wish decks. So the SPRs we got. This is the Frieza Unison, which looks fantastic. So it's just as nice as the Boo Unison. Really nice, vibrant colours and really good art. Not too much gold as well, from the looks of it. Really nice. And then we've got Cool Effortless Strike. Really nice art on that. A bit too much gold, but not too much like we got in previous ones. It still looks quite nice. We've got SS Trunks Art in the future, is really nice. Like the gold fits it really well with the art. And then the last one, the Power of the Super Saiyan, is an SPR as well. But this one is kind of like with the old set 12 SPRs, where they got too much gold and just art doesn't look that great because of the gold foiling on it. Like I know from the last one, the SPR Turtles. The SPR Turtles battle card looked horrible because the gold just spoiled it with all the gold foiling. Just the art in general didn't look great. But these SPRs are looking to be really nice. Can't wait to get my hands on it, and I know I will be going in on a case with a few friends for this set, because this set is actually quite nice. I did it at the beginning. I did it at the beginning before we got the spoilers. I think this set was a bit mediocre from what we had from the trailer. But as the cards have gone through it, and the archetypes like King Cole's really interesting, being one that revolves around field cards. King Vegeta looks quite interesting, seems quite fun, but until we get to see that Raditz TP card, I'm not going to touch it anymore because I want to know. Right, really, that guy could be just like the Broly from set 11, can make the deck a lot busted, but we don't know yet. And and then for yellow, the androids are quite interesting. Also, there's quite a few things that are interesting. Looking forward to seeing it. But thanks for watching. It's been a while. Been a lot, but luckily it's not as long as the last one, which was like about 2 hours. But that's because we had 2 colors worth just like this one, and then a load of Everest spoilers that we did kind of go over. Glimpses for like King Cold as well and stuff, which is interesting. But feel free to like the video if you enjoyed this series where I go over all the news of the week. I'm gonna keep doing it every week, covering whatever news comes out during the week, so like decks, tournaments and stuff like that. Leave a comment if there's anything I didn't cover, anything I got wrong, so I can correct it or even amend it to fix it. And lastly, subscribe to my channel if you want to keep updated with my videos, and if you're enjoying my content and want to keep updated with it, feel free to subscribe, and it keep you updated with the videos as and when they come out. Normally I have them out. Normally it's every Monday, Wednesday and Friday trying to get videos out. Sometimes it's more than that a week. Sometimes I get a bit lazy, it's less. But for now, at the moment, I'm looking to try and get at least 3 videos out a week, and then on Saturday, during the weekdays, and on Saturday get the previously in DBS series going out as well. Also, another thing is, if you're interested in Cube Draft, feel free to join the Facebook group. Check out my Facebook page as well, which you can go over, which I have a Cube Draft League going, and also as well check out my Cube Draft series on here if you want it. If you're interested in Cube and looking to build one, or get the idea of a list by having a look at mine. And also there's a Discord as well if you want to join the community and joining with the Cube drafting and stuff as well. But thank you for watching. Hope to see you next one, and have a nice weekend. Bye bye now.